Okay, guys, Adam Trigger here. It is Wednesday. It is time for On the Clock. Hopefully, we can do better than yesterday. Client plays go 0-2 with Rhode Island and SMU, just two terrible calls. Ones I wish I could have back for sure. Three straight winning days going into yesterday. So, unfortunately, kind of gave back Monday's really nice 3-1 day and put myself right around even on the current week. Basically, we've had 6 plays so far since Monday. A pair of 5% plays that have split, a pair of 4% plays that have split, pair of 3% plays that have split. So can make it back today. I've got a big card. I've already locked in 4 client plays, including a 4% top rated college basketball best bet that is up on my page at WagerTalk. The others are all 3%ers as of now. Always possible for them to get an increase. I'm going to give you 2 of them on this show. So stay tuned for that. So we'll have 2 client picks on the show, 2 free picks, and we will get things started as we get the buzzer ready here. We will get things started with our marquee matchup of the day, which takes us back to the SEC, the highlight of the show yesterday. We hit another total in the SEC, and we're going to go back to the SEC for marquee matchup, but it also will be our total of the day. That's going to be Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and the way I look at this game as we get the timer going, it profiles very similar to Mississippi State, Tennessee last night in the respect that I think you have 2 tremendous defenses, both top 15 nationally, and 2 offenses that get enough respect but aren't quite as good as the opposing team's defense. So it was exactly what I said about Mississippi State, Tennessee, and of course that game was under easily, never really came close. I don't think this is a scenario like last night's game where you're going to have one team that just can't do anything offensively, but I do think this could actually be a tighter game where you've got teams playing for stops at the end and not going to get like extension or garbage time. So that could play favorably to the under as well. The reason I like the under, Ole Miss is going to shoot a lot of 3-point shots. They make them. I mean, they're 35.5% from 3 as a team, but this is a physical Texas A&M defense that's going to be up on them on the perimeter. So nothing's going to be easy there. And Ole Miss is at a significant disadvantage rebounding the ball against A&M, but those long misses could create some offensive rebounds, which, again, maybe a little bit detrimental to what A&M wants to do. Now, when A&M gets the ball, they want to pound it inside. They want to get to the free throw line. So fouls are certainly a concern, but A&M hasn't been a great foul shooting team of late. So, they might get there. Doesn't mean they're going to rack up a ton of points at the foul line. I thought, this total is almost in the same range as what yesterday's total would be in Mississippi State, Tennessee. I think that's awfully high at 141.5. Feels like 2 very good defenses that are better than the opposing team's offense. And so for that, I will go in our marquee matchup. We will go with another total of the day under 141.5, I think is what it is for Texas A&M, Ole Miss. All right. But maybe the most disappointing thing, and it wasn't even a client play for me, is the fact that parlay of the day lost yesterday. After hitting Tennessee, getting through Western Michigan, the fact that Iowa could not win that game at home, coming off of 2 losses on the West Coast, it may just be cursed for the rest of this season. So instead of trying to fire another marquee matchup or a parlay of the day in this spot, I'm just going to give you one of my other client plays. And so we'll go to the Big South, and we'll talk Longwood and Radford. My buddy AK is all over this conference. I wish I went to bed so annoyed last night after SMU that I wish I saw the 8 texts that he sent me, basically saying like it's got to be Radford today. And I kind of woke up, agreed with him. The reason I say that is I probably would have played this on the money line, but the time I was able to lock it in, 2 was widely available, but that money line had creeped up to like minus 140. So I said, you know what, we'll take the 2. So I laid 2 here with Radford. Big home game against Longwood. I think we like this for different reasons. I know he really likes the spot here for Radford. I can't disagree with that. But for me, like Longwood, it's just become a fade at this point. So I got to see Longwood play in person when they came up here to Central New York to play Binghamton. I love Griff Aldrich as a coach. I think he's the best coach in the Big South, but he does not have the roster to be really good in this conference this year, in my opinion. And I know they just had their huge win over High Point, but that was a real hype spot, and he's tend to prepare well for High Point over the years. This Longwood team can't shoot. They just cannot shoot and they don't have anything else to really make up for it. Like, there's no other areas. They're not elite defensively. They don't do anything else so much better that they can make up for not being able to shoot the ball. So that's sort of the issue I have with this Longwood team. Zero outside shooting. KJ McClure was brought in to be the guy to give them some outside shooting. He just hasn't panned out. He's only hitting about 31% from three, and they can't even really have him out on the floor right now because he's a liability on defense and he doesn't really offer much else. So he's kind of the guy where if he's not shooting the ball and shooting at a high percentage, you can't have him on the floor. Then you got guys like Michael Christmas, Colby Garland, Kyrell Luke. Like, they make plays, but they're very frantic. Creates a lot of turnovers. And like I said, Longwood's not elite defensively. So they're not. The buzzer wants me to move on. I'm going to finish up talking about Radford Longwood here. So, Radford's the type of team. They have a really athletic backcourt, and they've got guys that make tough shots, like Jarvis Moss, Brandon Macklin. They can make tough shots. They can make the three. AK's right. The spot makes a lot of sense. Longwood coming off the High Point win and Radford coming off an ugly loss. Radford's 7-0 at home this year. And I think I just actually think they might be better than Longwood, which the market would not tell you, but Radford very well might be better than Longwood this year. And I do think they win. I laid the 2 with my guys, Freddie and AK, for a 3% play. So that will be one of my client plays today. Radford at home to get it done. And let's go boots on the ground. This is one I really gave some consideration to. The hoodie here is giving it away. We're going to head to Youngstown, Ohio, where Youngstown State plays Robert Morris. I am so close to adding this. I have not yet. The reason I like it is because EJ Farmer will be back tonight. He's missed the last 4 games. He's Youngstown State's leading scorer. He matters, and he matters a lot, in my opinion. Youngstown State without him probably doesn't lose to Cleveland State. They probably don't fail to cover against a terrible Green Bay team. Youngstown had won 8 straight games before the Farmer injury. So the game that Farmer got hurt was the IPFW game, and Youngstown is 2-3 since. So again, I definitely think I still think Youngstown State is not as good as their record. I don't think they're as good as they've been in years past, which is why I'm a little bit tentative to lay the 2.5 or lay extensive juice like -140 with them, but they're definitely better with EJ Farmer on the floor. The Beagley Center, where I had a heck of a time with Brian Power and Jeff Michaels a couple of years ago. We met some characters in this building. Is one of the bigger home court edges, in my opinion, in Horizon League play. They only take cash and Venmo, which I thought was hilarious. Older building, but awesome when it's full. Youngstown State cleans up there, and now they get Robert Morris, who's in a tricky spot. Like, this Robert Morris team is better than I expected, but this is going to be their 3rd road game since Friday. So they went up to Wisconsin over the weekend, played Milwaukee and Green Bay. They come off of a huge win over Milwaukee as an 8.5-point dog, go back to Pittsburgh where Robert Morris did, and now presumably they're going to have to bus on over to Youngstown for their 3rd road game in less than a week. It's a really tough spot. I'll be surprised if Youngstown State loses. I can just about guarantee you, if I don't put this on my card, it will be the easiest Youngstown win of the season. So do what you will with that. Have not put this on my client card yet. I do think Youngstown State wins. There's just something I can't stomach with this Youngstown team. Both these teams take so many bad shots that it's hard to lay 2.5. But man, getting Farmer back certainly helps. The Penguins, who I think find a way to win at home tonight. That brings us to the poll play, which my man Ref pretty much swung in one direction with his following, which is fine. Love that. Love the interaction on the poll play. So for Ref, although I don't think Ref's going to be thrilled with how I'm seeing this game. I know he likes Colorado State just in general. That's one of his teams. Him and I went to a game out there in Fort Collins last year. Awesome place, Moby Arena, where this game will be tonight between Boise State and Colorado State. But I did play Boise. This is another one of my 3% plays. I took Boise +1. I was at Boise's most recent game at the Pit in Albuquerque. They just weren't ready to play. But also New Mexico is really good. I was so impressed with New Mexico. I was impressed with how good their defense was, I mean, they were all over Boise. The crowd was insane, and Boise just could not make a shot. They missed 18 of their first 19 three-point attempts. They just weren't as athletic as New Mexico. And, it was just a bad matchup and a bad result for Boise. They were too far out of the game early, in my opinion, to ever really get back in. Now, Boise might have some issues. 2-3 in true road games. They've lost back-to-back road games in conference. That loss to Boston College on a neutral was pretty ugly. So, I don't know if I think Boise's going to win this league this year, but I still kind of have them in that top 3 or 4 in this conference. And I don't think Colorado State is that. I don't think they stay there. Even though Colorado State is there right now at 5-2, I don't think the Rams stay there. I think Colorado State has benefited from a very easy schedule to start so far. Basically their wins are San Jose State, Fresno, UNLV, Wyoming, and then Nevada when Nevada was sort of in that 0-4 terrible slump. That's their 5 wins. Their 2 losses are to 2 of the better teams in this league. I kind of have New Mexico, Utah State, Boise as the 3 sort of like top 3 in this league. And then San Diego State and Nevada are 2 teams that should be better than they are. That's kind of how I see the Mountain West. I think Colorado State's a pretender. I don't think they're going to sniff a league title this year. And I think when they start playing some of these tougher teams, you're going to see the losses start to pile up for the Rams. Boise State's a team that I think is going to struggle with athletes now that I've seen them play New Mexico and struggle so bad. Colorado State just doesn't have that type of athlete on their team. So I like the spot for Boise. I think they bounce back. I think they're the better team. I make them a slight favorite. So Boise State +1 coming off of a dreadful outing in Albuquerque. I had to take a shot with the Broncos. So that's a 3% play. So 2 3% plays for you on the show. Radford and Boise State. Youngstown State's a game that I am thinking about. I don't know if it'll make my client card. And then, of course, total of the day. I should be just firing these out for clients because they've been on a heck of a run. I'm rarely confident in a total, but the total of the day keeps hitting. So you've got one in the Texas A&M Ole Miss game. That's it for On the Clock on Wednesday. Cash all your tickets. I've got 4 plays up for clients today at WagerTalk. So head on over to my page, wt.buzz/AT. Give me a follow on X if you aren't already at AdamTriggerWT, and hope everyone has a great night. We'll see you guys tomorrow.